Hey everyone, and welcome back. Now today I want to talk about my top 3 predictions for 2025, just because obviously we're at the beginning of the year. We're going into what I would say a very, very highly anticipated year for a whole bunch of different reasons. We've got a super pro crypto administration. We're running into what many people consider kind of the hot spot of the 4-year cycle, where we should be seeing some of these blow off tops that we have seen kind of in every cycle in the past for Bitcoin. So, a lot of different and crazy things going on within this year. And so I did want to have just kind of 3 predictions that I think we could be seeing in 2025 and what we might see as kind of the biggest winners. Now, before we go on ahead and dive on in, I did want to just kind of give a disclaimer. I am not omniscient. I do not actually know what's going to happen in 2025. These are just some of my guesses based on some of my, what I'm seeing unfolding within the crypto ecosystem right now, based on some of the biases that I have of what I think we will see going into the kind of this next bull run, what my expectations for this bull run are, a lot of this type of stuff. I don't actually know for sure. This is just a lot of my opinion. So you can agree or you can disagree. Either is totally fine. But I did just want to kind of give the caveat that I am not omniscient, so please do not take any of this as financial advice. This is all just for kind of my opinions. You can take what you want and kind of make your own financial decisions off of this. We're all adults here, so you obviously need to be responsible for your own decision making in that respect. So anyway, let's go on ahead and dive right in. Starting out, we can see crypto bubbles. Obviously a pretty nice move on the day so far. I think we're probably going to see this continue kind of up to the inauguration, and potentially we even see kind of the next leg up of this cycle kind of coming here soon. We did see just a recent liquidation event. We saw a pretty sharp move to the downside on a lot of cryptos, and so we are kind of starting to see a lot of this bounce up, and this might be kind of the point at which we see that next move to the upside. Again, I don't know for sure, but we are seeing some pretty encouraging moves here. AI agents actually kind of leading the way down today, even though most of the market is moving to the upside. So a pretty interesting move there. Starting out though, on my first prediction, what I did want to talk about is Bitcoin. Now, my first prediction is not that Bitcoin is going to do well, but my first prediction is actually building on Bitcoin. We've seen this kind of start to unfold over the past couple of years, but I think building on Bitcoin is going to see an explosive year in 2025. We've already seen a lot of really interesting things building on Bitcoin. As we can see here, $7 billion almost of TVL on Bitcoin. We can see value actually exploding basically ever since the middle of October. So we've seen a really kind of impressive move. If you think about this, TVL compared to market cap though, Bitcoin is still stupidly low, right? I mean, Bitcoin's over $2 trillion in market cap right now, only $7 billion of TVL. So definitely some really far ways to go. If we look at Ethereum, they're about, I think, 400 billion right now, and their TVL is about 67 billion. So over 10% of their market cap is essentially translated down into TVL. At Bitcoin, it's a very tiny fraction of that. If we were to get to a similar amount, kind of comparable to Ethereum, we would be seeing a TVL of somewhere around, I believe it's about $300 billion. So more than almost more than the total market cap of Ethereum itself. I don't necessarily think we'll get there, just for a lot of different reasons, but that is kind of to show you some of the potential possibilities that we do have on an upside for Bitcoin. I also did want to show you on CoinGecko, we can see there's a whole bunch of different ways to look at various different things on the Bitcoin ecosystem. We can see there's a lot of different runes here. There's a lot of various coins. Runes is a coin protocol, essentially. It's kind of a different way to make coins. Think similar to an ERC20 on Ethereum. We also have NFTs. These are called ordinals on Bitcoin. A ton of different NFTs here, a ton of different coins. And then also if we look here, there's a lot more protocol type things. We can see here the TVL just shy of that $7 billion mark. So things looking really strong here. I do think that we'll probably see this breakout year for Bitcoin. There are still some tech improvements that need to be made. And so I think some of this explosive kind of pop off that I think we could see on Bitcoin is kind of predicated on some of those tech improvements, just because so far at least Bitcoin technically isn't really capable of doing smart contracts. And so because of that, it kind of makes the experience a little bit, I guess, janky, you could say, because of the inability to do proper smart contracts on Bitcoin. Developers are kind of finding some interesting and creative ways to work around that, but it's still just a little bit kind of weird. And so I think until we see some interesting and smooth solutions that make trading on Bitcoin more akin to trading on Ethereum, or even ideally something like Solana, we're probably not going to see that level of adoption. But we have had developers on Bitcoin working on this problem for almost 2 years at this point. I think actually over 2 years. So, there's a lot of, I think, really encouraging progress happening. There's a lot of money coming into it. I think this could be the year that we see Bitcoin kind of finally have its time in the sun from more of like a smart contract or building on Bitcoin type of perspective. If you are wanting to trade Bitcoin, Ethereum, anything like that, kind of in anticipation of some of this type of stuff, you can feel free to use my link in the description below. It is to BTCC. They are doing a 10% bonus on first time deposits. So really, really great deal, basically giving you 10% free money if you are interested. Also, extra bonuses of up to $10,055 per user. So BTCC throwing a whole bunch of money at you to trade on their site if you are interested. They've been around for 13 years, so definitely a really strong track record. 300 plus crypto futures, which again, a ton on there, a whole bunch of different leverage options, as well as no VPN or KYC necessary if that is something you're interested in. Again, they also have spot exchanges as well. So if you don't really want to trade leverage, or maybe you're new to crypto and maybe shouldn't be trading leverage, they have a whole bunch of different options for you there. So like I said, check the link in the description below and see kind of if that's something you're interested in. My second prediction though, moving on, is I think AI agents are actually going to blow up even more than they already have. Right now, we're seeing a massive amount of mind share being allocated to AI agents. We can see AIXBT currently being the top one, Fartcoin today at least kind of being the second. Then we've got Griffin, Rect, Zerobro, Henlo, Grift, God, Ava, Alk, some of these different ones. We can see in terms of dominance, $6 billion in total value on Solana. After that, we are followed by Base and then kind of everything else. Solana and Base are definitely the hot spots in terms of like AI agent development right now. Base is primarily because of virtuals, and then Solana is primarily because of AI16Z, but there are just also a lot of other things on Solana, just because Solana's got a relatively, I would say, easy way to kind of go through and like create coins and a lot of that type of stuff. Some of the development on Solana is a little bit interesting just because so much of the development on Base is basically on virtuals. If you're not developing on virtuals, you're probably developing on Solana. And so I think Solana is building a little bit more of like a diverse AI agent ecosystem, just because so much of the Base AI agents on virtuals do run on like their game protocol. And so kind of the limitations of all of those AI agents are kind of dictated based on what the game protocol can do, where based on some of these things being built on Solana and outside of the virtuals ecosystem, just kind of more widely, there's not like those like universally limiting things because of the protocol. They're kind of built using, far more diverse methods, and so they can and can't do a lot of different things, which can make it a little bit harder to know like what's actually good and what's not, just because we don't actually really know what AI agents do right now. We don't necessarily know what their purpose is. We haven't necessarily found like that product market fit yet, and so I do think there is going to be a whole bunch of different like speculation and trying to figure out which ones are good, which ones are bad, which ones are the best, which are scams, all this type of stuff. There's a whole bunch of different things going on that people don't really know yet. And so I think that's going to be part of the fun. And if you are involved with AI agents in crypto, you're going to have to definitely be staying on your toes. Things are changing by the day, a whole bunch of different stuff going on. And so DeFi is one of those. This is something that's kind of just sprung up into existence here recently. This is essentially DeFi with AI. Again, as I've kind of mentioned in some of my other videos, I don't understand why this exists, because in my opinion, DeFi, the kind of the natural iteration of DeFi should be AI. And so this to me seems a little bit redundant, but again, that's kind of neither here nor there. Definitely a sector that's been pretty hot recently. So definitely wanted to kind of pay attention to and tune in to kind of see what some of the developments are going on. I think AI agents overall in 2025 are going to see some massive appreciation. I don't think it's really predicated on too much like technological wise, just because I think a lot of this stuff is a little bit vaporware anyway. I do think the AI agents long term are actually going to be wildly valuable. I'm not 100% sure if the tech is there yet, but frankly, I don't know that it matters. Right now, I think that like the narrative is strong enough. I think people get AI enough. People understand why AI agents would be valuable kind of from like a higher level. So I think it doesn't really matter what happens with the technology. I think that narrative is just going to catch on well enough, and people will just kind of buy into the narrative overall. And so that's one of my predictions. I think AI in 2025 is going to be massive. I think the total market cap will actually move over to this really quick. I think the total market cap for AI agents is like 15 billion. Oh yeah, about 15.6 billion. So it would not surprise me at all if at the end of 2025, we're potentially looking at $100 billion market cap, or at least peaking at $100 billion market cap, maybe even more in 2025. I think we could see some pretty ridiculous moves coming out of AI agents in 2025. So that's my second prediction. My third prediction is actually US companies, or the like resurgence of US companies. We'll talk about XRP here in a second. We'll actually come back to it. But I think what we've seen essentially in the US is several years, and I'm not even talking about the last 4, I'm talking about even potentially the last 8, the last 12. We've seen an either neutral or hostile stance toward crypto companies in the US. The last 4 I think have been particularly hostile, and it's gotten a little bit to like a boiling point. But even prior to the past 4, I don't know that we've seen like pro-crypto stances in the US government. And so essentially what this has done is it's pushed out a lot of different American companies, either 1, out of business, 2, it's prevented them from even starting in the first place, or 3, they've moved out of the country elsewhere. I mean, obviously Dubai is a hotspot, Hong Kong's a hotspot, Singapore is a hotspot, Switzerland is a hotspot. There's a whole bunch of different hotspots within the various places in the world that are doing crypto far better than the US is, frankly, because a lot of them were pushed out, or maybe people who want to do crypto in the US just don't want to take the risk, because we've seen legal action basically taken against all of the major legitimate players in the US. We've seen the SEC get involved with Coinbase. We've seen the SEC get involved with XRP/Ripple. We've seen the SEC get involved with Uniswap. I mean, basically all of the like legitimate companies trying to actually do something cool in the US have been hit with some level of legal action. Now, if you look at all the scammers and stuff, nobody really cares about them. It's all of the like players that are actually trying to do something useful that are getting hit, which makes absolutely no sense to me. But finally, we are getting a pro-crypto president, pro-crypto Congress, pro-crypto basically everything. This is the most pro-crypto that the US has ever been. And so I think one of the major winners in 2025 is going to be US crypto companies. And so anyway, going back to this chart, we can see XRP is a perfect example of this. If we look here, we can see the 5th of November, which was when Donald Trump officially won the US election, XRP was at a low of 50 cents. It is now at $3.31. So we've seen an over 700% gain in the span of like 2 months, which is just wild. And again, it just keeps going. And this is something that I think we're seeing because XRP has been suppressed in price for a very long time for multiple different reasons. The chief among them being that XRP has been in a years-long legal battle with the SEC because the SEC essentially wants to consider them a security. And if that were to happen, that would essentially be kind of like a death blow to XRP. And so I think we could see that it's been kind of artificially suppressed for several years at a time. If we also go look at like something like Cardano, also an American company, we can see something very similar. We look here on the 5th of November, the low of the day was 32.5 cents. We are now at $1.12. So again, over 400%, I think I'm doing that right, but seeing highs of $1.30 or over that. So, I think what we're going to see really pretty impressively is a resurgence in American companies, in ones that already exist. We'll see Coinbase do very well. We'll see, hopefully Cardano do well. We'll see XRP do well. We'll see a lot of these people at these companies probably have fairly important roles within the government because Trump has said several times that he wants a crypto advisory council and crypto is a national priority. He wants stable coins. He wants all this different type of stuff. And so this to me is something that I think is very, very bullish for just crypto generally, but particularly American companies. And so I think we are going to see a massive boom from American crypto companies. And so again, that's my third prediction as far as what I think is going to happen in 2025 and some of the major winners. And so hopefully you found the information in this video useful. If you did, please do give me a like and a subscribe because it really does help me out. Also, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd like to hear, thoughts, comments, concerns, anything like that. Just drop those in the comment section below. I do try to read and respond to all of those. So if you have anything that you want me to see, that'd be a really great way to do it. Also, again, if you are looking for a place to trade, I do have that link to BTCC in the description below if that's something you're interested in. Thank you guys for tuning in and we'll see you in the next one.